Why she pulls away when you start caring. Have you ever noticed how things feel effortless in the beginning and then suddenly become complicated? At first, it's easy. You meet her, maybe online or through a friend. The conversation starts casually. You're not thinking too much about it. You're just talking. You send a message, she replies. You joke, she laughs. You go back and forth without pressure. It feels natural. You're not checking your phone every minute. You're not worried about what to say next. You're just being yourself. And because of that, she's responding well. She's engaged. She's asking questions. She's putting in effort. There's balance. But then, slowly, something changes. You wake up one morning and she's the first thing on your mind. You start checking your phone more often. You start thinking about what she's doing, who she's with, why she hasn't replied yet. And without realizing it, you've moved from enjoying the moment to becoming emotionally invested. And that's where the shift begins. Because almost immediately after that, her energy changes. She takes longer to reply. She becomes less expressive. The excitement you once felt starts to fade. And now you're confused. Because in your mind, you're thinking, I like her more now. So why does it feel like she likes me less? 1. The version of you she was first attracted to. Let's go back to the beginning. Because that version of you is important. Think about how you were when you first started talking to her. You weren't overthinking. If she replied late, you didn't panic. You just continued with your day. If the conversation paused, you didn't rush to fix it. You had your own life. Maybe you were working, hanging out with friends, focusing on your goals. And talking to her was just a part of your day, not the center of it. That version of you felt relaxed. And that relaxed energy created attraction. Because it felt natural. It didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like you needed anything from her. And when someone feels like you don't need anything from them, they feel free. And freedom creates attraction. 2. The shift that happens when you start caring. Now, let's look at what happens when you start caring more. It doesn't happen suddenly. It builds. You start to enjoy her company more. You start to see potential. You start imagining what it could become. And slowly, your attention shifts. Here's a simple real-life scenario. You send her a message in the evening. Before, you would send it and go do something else. Maybe watch something, maybe work, maybe sleep. Now, you send the message. And you wait. You check if she's online. You check if she has seen it. You start thinking, why hasn't she replied yet? And in that moment, something important has changed. Your emotional state is now tied to her response. 3. When your mood depends on her. This is where things start becoming unstable. Before, your mood was consistent. Now it fluctuates. She replies quickly. You feel good. She takes time. You feel anxious. She sends a short message. You overthink it. And this creates a pattern. You start reacting emotionally to small changes. Here's another scenario. You notice you replied with just okay or LOL. Before, you wouldn't think much of it. Now, you read into it. You start asking yourself, is she losing interest? Did I say something wrong? Should I send another message? And that overthinking leads to overaction. You send extra messages. You try to bring the energy back. You try to fix something that may not even be broken. And that effort starts to change how you come across. 4. How she experiences your change. From your perspective, you're just showing more interest. But from her perspective, the energy feels different. Before, talking to you felt easy. Now, it feels like there's more behind it. More expectation, more attention, more intensity. And even if she doesn't consciously think about it, she feels it. And when something starts to feel heavier than before, the natural reaction is to create space. Not always because she wants to leave, but because she wants to breathe. 5. Overavailability in real life. Let's look at another simple situation. You used to reply when you were free. Now, you reply instantly. Every time. No delay. No pause. At first, this might seem like a good thing. But over time, it removes something important. Anticipation. Before, she didn't know exactly when you would reply. Now, she knows you're always there, always available, always ready. And when something becomes constant, it stops feeling special. It becomes expected. 6. The texting trap. Texting is one of the biggest reasons this pattern happens so often today, because texting creates something that didn't exist before in the same way. Constant access. You can reach her anytime. You can check if she's online. You can see when she reads your message. And because that access is there, you start using it more than you should. At first, it's harmless. You text because you enjoy the conversation. But as you start caring more, your reason for texting changes. You're no longer texting just to talk. You're texting to feel connected. And that shift is subtle but powerful. Here's a simple real-life situation. It's evening. You're at home doing nothing in particular. Before, you might have watched something, gone out, or focused on something productive. Now, you pick up your phone. You think about her. You send a message. She doesn't reply immediately. Now you check again. Still nothing. You open the chat, close it, open it again. You start thinking, maybe she's busy. Maybe she didn't see it. Maybe I should send something else. And before you know it, you're emotionally invested in a conversation that hasn't even happened yet. This is the texting trap. It pulls your attention in. It creates constant awareness. And that awareness turns into overthinking. Another scenario. She replies, but her message is short. Before, you would just reply normally. Now you analyze it. Why is it short? Is she losing interest? Should I say something more interesting? And then you adjust your behavior. You try harder. You send more. You try to bring the energy back. But what you don't realize is this. The more you try to fix the conversation, the more unnatural it becomes. Because conversations are not meant to be controlled. They're meant to flow. And when you try to force flow, it stops flowing. Over time, your texting becomes predictable. You're always available, always replying fast, always continuing the conversation. And that removes something important. Variation. Because attraction needs variation. It needs moments of interaction and moments of space. When everything becomes constant, it becomes normal. And what becomes normal stops feeling exciting. 7. Losing your life outside her. This is one of the most important shifts and one of the most damaging. Before you became emotionally invested, you had your own life, your own routine, your own focus. Your time was filled with different things. Work, friends, personal goals, your own interests. And talking to her was just a part of your day, not the center of it. But as you start caring more, that begins to change. Here's a real-life example. You're out with friends. Before, your phone would stay in your pocket most of the time. You were present. You were engaged in the moment. Now, you feel your phone vibrate. You check immediately. It's her. And suddenly, your attention shifts. You reply. Then you check again. Then again. Your focus is no longer on where you are. It's on the conversation. Another scenario. You're working on something important. Before, you would stay focused. Now, you get a message. You stop what you're doing. You reply. Then you think about what she might say next. Your focus is broken. Your attention is divided. And slowly, your life starts adjusting around her. Instead of her fitting into your life starts fitting around her. And this shift is not just internal. It shows externally. You become more available, more responsive, more focused on her. And that changes how you are perceived. Because now, it feels like you don't have much going on outside the interaction. Even if that's not true. Because your behavior suggests otherwise. And attraction is influenced by perception. 8. When she stops chasing and you start chasing. At the beginning, there is balance. Both of you are investing. Both of you are curious. Both of you are engaging. But when your investment increases too quickly, the balance shifts. Here's a simple scenario. At first, she texts you first sometimes. She asks questions. She engages. But as you start doing more, she starts doing less. Not always intentionally, but naturally, because you are filling all the space. You are starting conversations. You are continuing them. You are maintaining the interaction. So she doesn't need to. And over time, you become the one chasing. You start waiting for replies. You start initiating more. You start putting in more effort to keep things going. And she becomes more passive. This is not because she suddenly lost all interest. It's because the dynamic changed. When one person does most of the work, the other person naturally does less. And that imbalance reduces attraction. 9. The real reason she pulls away. So what is really happening here? It's not just about texting. It's not just about caring. It's about energy. At the beginning, your energy is relaxed. You are grounded. You are not trying to control anything. As you start caring, your energy becomes focused on her. More attention, more thought, more emotional investment. And that creates intensity. Not always visible, but felt. And when something becomes more intense than it was before, the natural reaction is to create distance. Because people are drawn to what feels good, but they pull away from what feels overwhelming. Even if it's subtle, even if it's unintentional, understanding this changes everything. Because now, instead of reacting emotionally, you become aware. You notice when your attention is shifting too much. You notice when you're overthinking. You notice when you're starting to depend on her responses. And instead of continuing that pattern, you adjust. You return to your center. You focus on your own life again. You allow space. You allow conversations to breathe. You stop trying to control every moment. And when you do that, something interesting happens. The pressure disappears. The interaction feels lighter again. And